Good evening. On behalf of the commissioners and staff, I would like to welcome you to the November 18, 2021 City of Roseville Planning Commission meeting. If you could at this time, please put all electronic devices on silent. Agendas are available at the end of the staff table. And if you plan to speak at tonight's meeting, please complete a blue speaker card and return it to the staff table. As a reminder, Planning Commission meetings are broadcast live and replayed throughout the week on Consolidated Communications and Comcast. And with that, I will now call the meeting to order. Lupi, could I please have roll call?
Yes, Commissioner Brashears.
Here.
Commissioner Caparuso.
Here.
Commissioner Covington.
Here.
Commissioner Hagen-Joes.
Here.
Commissioner Pryor is absent, excused. Vice Chair Martin.
Here.
And Chair Jensen.
Here. Commissioner Martin, could you lead us in the pledge? Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Lupe, could we please begin with staff introductions?
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. Lupe Nelson, Recording Secretary.
Good evening, Commissioners. Joe Speaker, Assistant City Attorney.
Good evening, Chair Jensen and Commissioners. Greg Bitter, Planning Manager.
Good evening, Chair Jensen and Commissioners. Derek Ogden, Senior Planner.
Good evening, Chair Jensen and Commissioners. Kenny Shallow, Associate Planner.
And good evening, Matt Todd, Principal Engineer.
Thank you. So at this time, we'll begin public comment. The public comment period is a time for anyone who would like to address the commission on any item not on tonight's agenda. When addressing the commission, please state your name for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the commission on an item that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, I will close the public comment period. And we'll move on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar consists of routine items that may be approved under one motion as recommended in the staff report. However, each item may be considered separately upon a request by the audience, Planning Commission, or staff. Tonight's consent calendar consists of 2 items. Item 5.1, the minutes from the October 14th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting, and item 5.2, Downtown Specific Plan Parcel DT6, Civic Plaza Residences Condominium Map for 330 Vernon Street. For the record, that's file number PL21-0281. Is there anyone on the commission or in the audience who would like to pull an item off of the consent calendar for discussion? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion from the commission?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Caparuso and a second from Commissioner Martin. Lupe, roll call.
Commissioner Covington.
Yes.
Vice Chair Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Hagen-Joes.
Yes.
Commissioner Brashears.
Yes.
Commissioner Caparuso.
Yes.
And Chair Jensen.
Yes. Okay, now we'll move forward to requests and presentations. Before we begin, I want to review the meeting procedures. First, we'll hear the staff presentation. Then we'll take questions from the commission. Then I'll open the public hearing, and the applicant will make a presentation if they so choose. Then I will open the public comment, and the public will have an opportunity to speak. We'll close public comment. The applicant will be given an opportunity to provide a rebuttal. We will then close the public hearing, and the commission may ask questions of staff. And finally, the commission will consider the item and make a decision based on the information provided in the staff report, questions of staff, and the testimony provided during tonight's hearing. So the first item we have is item 6.1. It's a request to approve a conditional use permit modification and design review permit modification for 8150 Industrial Avenue. For the record, file number PL21-0060. And Kitty, may we have your presentation, please?
Yes, good evening again. I'm here tonight to present the Bridgeway Tent and Western Seminary project. The project site is located at 8150 Industrial Avenue within the city's North Industrial Planning area and has a land use designation and zoning designation of general industrial. The site is bounded by a vacant general industrial parcel to the south, office and warehouse uses to the north, Washington Boulevard to the east, and Industrial Avenue to the west. The site is developed with multiple buildings totaling approximately 200,000 square feet with associated parking, lighting, and landscaping. It was originally developed in 1992 as the Roseville Telephone Company campus, which is currently known as Consolidated Communications. but they relocated to Vernon Street in 2014. And in 2015, the Planning Commission approved a conditional use permit to allow Bridgeway Christian Church to occupy the site and operate within the general industrial zone. Bridgeway currently occupies buildings A for church services and B and D for offices. In the past year, Bridgeway installed an outdoor prefabricated tent structure within a paved area in the northwest corner of the site, which is highlighted here in yellow. The tent was initially installed as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which resulted in indoor church services being limited in attendance and/or being required to be held outdoors. The current request is for a CUP modification and a design review permit modification to allow the tent to remain on a permanent basis. The applicant is also modifying the CUP to allow Western Seminary to occupy a portion of Building D. Western Seminary is a degree-granting theological school. The tent is approximately 6,700 square feet in size and about 40 feet tall to the peak. The project will allow the flexibility of using the tent as an outdoor venue in conjunction with church services, community programs, and events on a permanent basis. The current hours of operation for the services will remain the same. The applicant indicated the tent would not increase attendance for the church services, but rather it would reallocate people from inside to outside, providing them the option of being outdoors if they prefer. Similarly, the tent would provide a covered area for events and programs that are already occurring on the site that were allowed with the original CUP, such as Vacation Bible School. New events being added to the operations include a harvest festival, family fun nights, weddings, and memorials. The tent is set back approximately 100 feet from the property line along Industrial Avenue, behind the landscape frontage, which consists of multiple layers of mature trees that minimize views of the tent. The project will require separate permits from the building division and fire department to ensure compliance with building and fire codes. So as mentioned, Western Seminary will be locating in Building D, which is a two-story building that is approximately 75,000 square feet. The second-story floor plan will be split into two suites to accommodate both Bridgeway's office staff and Western Seminary. Western Seminary will utilize the space for classrooms and offices. There will be a total of 2 classrooms, with one seating up to 44 students and the second seating up to 24 students. Classes are typically held on weeknights between 5:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. and on Saturdays between 8:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. And occasionally day classes are on Mondays or Fridays. The applicant has indicated there has been an increase in remote learning, so its anticipated physical attendance will be low. Staff does not anticipate any compatibility issues with locating Western Seminary and Bridgeway on the same site. An initial study leading to a mitigated negative declaration was prepared for the original CUP, which included a traffic impact study prepared by Fair and Peers. The study recommended mitigation measures, which include coordinating with the engineering division before holding events exceeding 1,100 people, unless it's an event which has occurred before and for which prior coordination is documented. These measures were included as conditions for the original CUP, and the proposed project is also required to comply with these measures, which will continue to ensure there are no adverse impacts to city facilities. The site provides a total of 971 parking spaces, exceeding the total parking required. So in conclusion, staff finds the proposed project is substantially consistent with the intent of the original approval, and the project complies with the zoning ordinance, North Industrial Planning Area, General Plan, and the Community Design Guidelines. At this time, staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt the required findings of fact and approve the conditional use permit modification and design review permit modification, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Kenny. Commissioners, are there any questions of staff at this time? Commissioner Hagan-Joseph?
Kenny, on the property, just looking at the map, Building B is being used by church staff, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any use being done with Building E or Building C, if you know?
So Building E, I believe, is not being utilized, but Building C is occupied by Airgas, which is like a heavy wholesale and distribution use.
So I guess a question that I have is there a plan in place, or will there be a plan in place for when there's activity at this tent location for the traffic that is trying to get to Building C. I'm slightly concerned about, especially like with a vacation Bible school, where you've got vehicles ingress and egress. I took a look at the site, and it looks like to get vehicles back to Building C, they're going to be running through the area that is around that tent.
I can try to address that. Can we bring the slide back up again? Sorry. I think most of the vehicles that would be patronizing the Airgas building, Building C, would come off of Washington Boulevard. And I believe that the tent area is actually behind a fenced area that's really kind of remote to the site. So I don't think we anticipate a lot of traffic going between the buildings there. And maybe the applicant can help address that. But I think for the most part, most of the people that come to Airgas or trucks leaving there for the business really exit onto Washington Boulevard.
Any other questions from the commission? Okay, seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing and would like to invite the project representative for this item to come forward and address the commission and maybe help answer the previous question of the commission.
Good evening. My name is Roy Cotterill with Perkins Williams and Cotterill Architects. I'd like to thank you for hearing our project tonight and thank Kenny for doing such a great job on bringing us to this point. We're very excited about this project to move forward some things that Bridgeway is trying to accomplish with their site. I am joined by Heidi, who's with Bridgeway, who can address a lot of the operational things. We're mostly involved in the architectural design, working on the permitting of the tent and the permitting of the interior improvements in Building B. So some of those questions might be best served for her. But if you have anything architectural, I'd be more than happy to answer those.
Okay. Perhaps we could have Heidi come forward and talk a little bit about the pedestrian circulation.
Well, thank you very much.
Hi. The tent is located like in the northwest area of the campus, as you had indicated, and the Vacation Bible Study School is a 1 week period, and it is half day. It starts roughly about 9 o'clock in the morning and goes till about 1. And what we do is, like you mentioned, it is back behind where the gates come in. Airgas is far over here. The majority of the traffic does come in from the west side, but there is some that does come in from industrial. And what we do is we have these movable barricades that we put across that area, and then we have attendants that the children stay underneath the tent, or they are inside or in our courtyard area, and then they are monitored and walked past that area during the time if there is any traffic that goes over that area. But there would be no crossover of any children being unattended, and we also have installed speed bumps there so that the traffic moves very slowly across that area.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioners, are there any other questions of the applicant?
Actually, just one other, how are bathroom needs handled in terms of the kids when they're there for the week? I mean, is Building B, do they have?
Yep, so we have 2 bathrooms that are outside in that parking lot area, and then we also have bathrooms that are within the building that they can access as well. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and also to your question of Building E, that is our energy center, so it will never be occupied by anybody. It has our boilers and chillers and things like that.
Yeah, no, my biggest concern, which you've addressed, is if somebody comes in Industrial Avenue when you've got a lot of people who are at that tent, to just ensure that there's safe access, back to the building that's there.
Yeah, we are over the top conscious of that and make sure that we keep our little ones safe.
Okay.
Anything else?
Looks like there's no other questions, so thank you.
Okay. Yep.
So I'll now open the public comment period. Is there anyone from the public who would like to come forward and address the commission on this item? Okay, seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public comment period. Are there any other questions of staff from the commission? Again, seeing none, so I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and look to the commission for final comments or a motion.
I'll move to adopt the 2 findings of fact and approve the CUP modification subject to 7 conditions of approval, and adopt 2 findings of fact and approve the design review permit modification subject to 9 conditions of approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Caparuso and a second from Commissioner Braziers. Lupe, could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Brashears?
Yes.
Commissioner Covington? Yes. Commissioner Caparuso?
Yes.
Vice Chair Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hagan-Jost?
Yes.
Chair Jensen?
Yes. So the project is approved. There is a 10-day appeal period for this item. Okay, moving on to item 6.2, it's a request to approve a conditional use permit and design review permit for 2990 Foothills Boulevard. For the record, file PL 20-0274. And Shelby, if we have your presentation, please.
Yes, you may. Good evening, Chair Jensen and Commissioners. My name is Shelby Maples, and I have a presentation for you on the Tommy's Car Wash project. The project is located at 2990 Foothills Boulevard on the southwest corner of the intersection of Foothills and Vineyard in the infill area of the city. A gas station with a drive-through restaurant is located to the north of the project site, and an existing multifamily apartment complex bounds the site to the west and south. Foothills Boulevard is along the east of the project site with office complex across the street. At present, the subject parcel is partially developed with a parking area. The driveways, landscaping, and other frontage improvements have already been installed along Foothills, and there is an existing masonry wall on the perimeter of the site adjacent to the apartments. The project request includes a conditional use permit to allow the car wash facility in the community commercial zone and a design review permit to evaluate the proposed elevations and site improvements. As proposed, the automated car wash would be approximately 5,200 square feet in size and include 22 vacuum spaces, a 600 square foot storage building, and other site improvements. Car wash facilities are considered conditionally permitted in the community commercial zone. The CUP process allows the Planning Commission to restrict activities on the site, as well as place operational conditions on the project to mitigate potential impacts to surrounding properties. Operational noise can be an issue with car washes, and given the proximity to the apartment complex, staff required a site-specific noise study for the project. A summary of the results is located in pages 3 and 4 of your staff report, and the full noise study is attachment 1 of your mitigated negative declaration, which is Exhibit A. In summary, the noise study prepared by Saxby and Associates found that the existing masonry wall would mitigate the noise generated by the project to acceptable levels during daytime hours. The municipal code related to noise defines daytime hours as 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., which is with an acceptable level of 50 dBA. The conditions of approval recommend the hours that are shown on the slide, which have been reviewed and agreed to by the applicant. Staff believes that the recommended hours of operation will minimize conflicts with residences. This is the site plan for the car wash. Primary access to the site will be from the 2 driveways on Foothills Boulevard. There are 3 stacking lanes that are each 150 feet long that are proposed on the west side of the car wash tunnel, which exceeds the minimum requirement of 100 linear feet of stacking space. Car wash users will enter the tunnel through the south, with the exit and the air dryers located on the north end of the tunnel. And there's 22 vacuum spaces that are located on the east side of the tunnel towards Foothills. The building incorporates stucco, stacked stone, metal accents, and an acrylic roof system. The tunnel has a unique shape that's consistent across the Tommy's Car Wash brand, while incorporating colors and materials that complement the nearby gas station and fast food building to the north. The same colors and materials are used on the storage building for the site, as well as the small knee wall that shields the vacuum spaces. The overall design is consistent with the community design guidelines. In conclusion, the project is consistent with the general plan, zoning ordinance, community design guidelines, and the required findings for the entitlements can be made. Therefore, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the Tommy's Car Wash Mitigated Negative Declaration and Mitigated Monitoring and Reporting Program, adopt the findings of fact, and approve the conditional use permit and entitlement subject to the conditions of approval. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Shelby. Commissioners, are there any questions of staff at this time? We'll go ahead and start at this end if there are.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing none, I will go ahead and open the public hearing, and I'd like to invite the project representative for this item to come forward and address the commission.
Good evening, Chair Jensen and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Jerry Apples from Burrell Consulting Group. I was kind of thinking about this property and how long we've been working on it. In fact, Bob, you might have worked on it back in your career, back in the city of Roseville, if I recall correctly. But we've been working on this site probably 17 or 18 years. Off and on, not full 100%, but I'm finally glad to see that the last piece is hopefully going to be approved this evening, and this project will be built, and I'll be done with it because I'd like to move on. With me today is the property owner, Parneet Parmar. He is the owner of the property. He's also the owner of the gas station and the Starbucks next door. It's a separate piece of property, but it is part of the same shopping center. So he purchased the property, and I forgot from who, but in a string of different transactions. Along with us this evening is Luke Saxelby from Saxelby Acoustical. And so if there's any specific questions about the noise report, he's prepared to answer those. So he was good enough to attend this evening and on last minute notice. So I want to say thank you very much for doing that. So with that, Shelby, you did a great job in the presentation. It was wonderful to work with you. We worked out the conditions of approval. I don't have too much more to add. We did do a lot of adjustments on the project, mainly on the architecture, and Shelby is very aware of that. This is a very custom design that fits in well with the city of Roseville and the shopping center next door. But with that, I mean, we've read the staff report. We've agreed to all the conditions of approval, and we're here to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you, Jerry. Commissioners, are there any questions for the project applicant at this time? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and open the public comment period. Is there anyone from the public who would like to come forward and address the commission on this item? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public comment period. Any additional questions or comment for the applicant or the commission from staff or from the commission? Okay, again, seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and look to the commission for any final comments or a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the Tommy's Car Wash Mitigated Negative Declaration and Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program, adopt the 3 findings of fact and approve the conditional use permit subject to the 2 conditions of approval, and adopt the 4 findings of fact and approve the design review permit subject to 65 conditions of approval.
A second.
Commissioner Covington has made the motion and Commissioner Martin has seconded the motion. Could we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Caparuso?
Yes.
Commissioner Hagen-Joes?
Yes.
Commissioner Brashears?
Yes.
Commissioner Covington?
Yes.
Vice Chair Martin?
Yes.
And Chair Jensen?
Yes. The motion is approved. There is a 10-day appeal period for this item. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next on the agenda is the Commissioner staff report. Are there any reports from staff at this time?
Yes, Chair Jensen, I just have a couple items. The first item is our next meeting is December 16th. I know that's the third Thursday, so it's another special meeting. We'll have a couple of projects, but we're also going to do I know you requested it either the last Planning Commission meeting or a quick overview of the SB 9, the single-family zoning legislation that was recently signed by the governor. We've gotten our hands kind of around what the implications are to the city zoning ordinance, how we're going to handle it, some of the provisions we're going to put in place. So we'll have a little informational item at the end of that meeting for you on that item, because I think probably early in next year we'll be ready to bring that ordinance forward. The law takes effect January 1, so we have to comply with the law starting that date. But it's really will behoove us to get that ordinance before you and ultimately council to get it on the books as soon as possible after the beginning of January. The other item I wanted to bring up tonight, just to inform you, is that yesterday we received our letter from the State of California's Housing and Community Development Department certifying our housing element. So as you know, you took action on it in the summer. The council approved it exactly 90 days ago yesterday. The state had 90 days to review and certify it. So we got that at 4 o'clock yesterday. So they made their deadline by an hour. And it was a little bit of a scramble this week. We had a few little discussions back and forth. But we have a certified housing element at this point. So obviously the SB 9 ordinance language is one of the implementation. Obviously we have to comply with state law, but that is, goes along with helping us comply with our housing element. But there's going to be quite a bit of housing-related information coming your way. I think I sound like a broken record on this, but the implementation in the housing element is going to be an ongoing annual item for you. But I just wanted to let you know that at least we have a certified housing element, and that's a big benefit to the city.
Thank you, Greg.
And that's all I have tonight.
Are there any questions or comments from the commission? I have just a couple. First, congratulations on the housing element. I know that was a huge, huge lift, and your staff did a great job. And I know the commission really appreciates the thoroughness of it and how clear you made it for us, because it could be confusing. And lastly, I just want to wish staff a great Thanksgiving coming up. I speak for the commission, I think, as a whole, and how much we appreciate what you do and how you make our job actually a lot easier by giving us all the information we need so we can make good decisions. So thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. We do.
With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, Lupe.
Commissioner Brashears?
Yes.
Commissioner Caparuso?
Yes.
Commissioner Covington?
Yes.
Commissioner Hagen-Jost?
Yes.
Commissioner Pryor? I'm sorry, is absent excused. Vice Chair Martin?
Yes.
And Chair Jensen.
Yes, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.